What's up, everybody? Thanks for checking me out. This here we got PlayArt's Ibuki from Street Fighter 4, and I'm kind of excited about this one. I'm an Ibuki fan. I like the design of Ibuki. I think everybody does. Ibuki's probably one of the coolest ninjas around, and I was super excited when they announced that they were doing her. It does seem kind of like a no-brainer, but excited to have her. She doesn't come with a whole lot. It looks like two different faces, which is the standard for Street Fighter PlayArts Kai, at least for the females. I don't have any of the dudes yet. I've got Chun-Li, Cammy, and now Ibuki, and they've all come with kind of the regular, just plain face, and then one of them kind of shouting. She's got open hands, her hair, and closed fist with some daggers. PlayArts Kai. This is Volume 3 of the, I guess, Street Fighter PlayArts. Her and Guile, I believe, are the two that were released in this wave, if you want to call it. They've has since announced Ken and Sakura. I want to say there might be one other one I could be forgetting, but those are the two that I'm excited for. Ken and Sakura. I've pre-ordered those two. I'll be getting them soon enough, hopefully, when they come out sooner than later, maybe at Comic-Con. I'm always hoping to pick up things early at Comic-Con. Anyway, there she is, and let's crack her open, take a look. Okay, so this is her packaging. I just want to show off real quick. She does come with the stand, the same stand that Raiden came with, which is kind of a blister packed onto the inside of the carton. It comes with some... Sorry, just had a cat attack. Instructions, in case you're not sure how things come off her head, her 3 bangs and her 1 ponytail, and then some directions, which could be helpful when it comes to putting together the base. And then as for her, well, you can see that's everything she comes with. Nothing, no surprises on the inside. So, moving on. Okay, so here she is. So this is a pretty well-made figure. I'm digging this one. PlayArts seems like they're steadily improving, which is awesome. A couple things jump out at me though right away. First thing, really odd, is her waist articulation. You can see that peg right there. It's kind of weird, but her hips are, they have this post sticking out of them, so she's kind of like segmented in the middle, which is odd. And you can see right there, like, what is that about? Weird. From the front, not a big deal. It doesn't really stand out, but you can tell she's segmented in a way that, I don't know, that I've seen a PlayArts figure segmented. It could be that it's like that on the new figures. Maybe they're all kind of like that, but and it just stands out with Ibuki because she doesn't have a lot of mass to hide it. But I don't know. Either way, it's kind of strange. The other thing is that her head really loose. You can see. Not sure why. I haven't put the other head on, but you can kind of tell. Pretty loose head. It looks like it's going to hold its pose wherever I put it, though, which is not a big deal. So everything else looks about right. Nothing else is out of place. Doesn't look like there are any errors or anything else with my figure. Paint all looks pretty good. She's all put together pretty well, but that joint is really weird in the middle. It's like they made the stem that comes off her hips too big. Either that or this pelvic piece, which is just kind of like a plastic shroud almost, is not tall enough. I don't know, weird. Like, that just seems really odd to me that this section would be exposed like that. Seems like an oversight. I'm not sure what they were thinking on that one. No other Play Arts figure I know of has that issue. I don't have a lot of them, by the way, but so far that's been my experience. Her bangs seem to come off pretty easily. They don't go in very easy. At least I had trouble anyway. They each have their own place. They're segmented, so the holes in her head have very specific holes in them, and then the hair has its own specific peg, so it doesn't look like you're going to switch them up a whole lot, if at all. But that's okay, not a big deal. Hair looks good though. It looks like Ibuki's hair, so they've done a good job there. This also is kind of a depiction of a more serious version of Ibuki, probably more serious than any other than I've seen her depicted anywhere else. And all the games, she's a little more happy-go-lucky, a little more youthful. But I think it's still, I don't know, it's still fine. It fits in certainly with the other Play Arts figures. They seem to be more serious in general. And I don't have a problem with that. I think she looks good. The head doesn't bother me because it'll sit still once you stop messing with it. But this little segmented portion there is really odd. I don't understand what the point of that is. But as far as articulation goes, she does have a double jointed neck. The collar doesn't move like it does on some Play Arts figures, like Cammy's, for instance. It moves, but this one does not. She has kind of the that wing joint that lets her arm move forward, but given the mold of her gi, or whatever it's called here, it kind of hinders it a little bit. Swivel bicep, ball jointed elbow, ball jointed wrist. No articulation in the forearm at all. And then swappable hands. Her default hands came off really easily too, like they just slid off. Again, not too big an issue because I don't think they're going anywhere unless you explicitly mess with them. But you know they'll stay on fine. Then she's got this really weird ball jointed torso that the peg that goes down to her hips goes into, it's like a T, it comes down here, and then there are two pegs that her hips go on. They're ratcheting joints. They move. They're ball joints, essentially, ratcheting ball joints in her hips. They move in every which way. But the ball joints themselves on the inside are connected to this post. So you get a post that goes straight from her abdomen down and makes a T, where at the end of those T's are the ball joints for her hips. So that means that she doesn't really have like a double ball joint. It's just the top is just on a ball joint here, and then there's no way to move it like forward or backwards. It's kind of hard to describe, but this thing's, it doesn't look like it's that bad. All in all, I think you can get away with it depending on how she's going to be posed. But I don't know. It's so weird that they would make that joint like that. I kind of wish that there was her second face had a covered face. This is her second face as it stands, which is fine. I just kind of wish that they had, if you're going to put two faces in, one of them I think should have the mask over the front of it. That seems like the most appropriate thing to do. Her mask also, you can get it to cover a little bit of her face when you bend her head down, but it doesn't even really cover her nose. Kind of weird choice there. Like I say, if you're going to go ahead and put two faces in there, might as well have one that's a little more iconic, but whatever. So ratchet ball joint hips, single jointed knees. They ratchet. Seem like they're pretty serviceable. And then she's got a swivel calf. And then she's got a ball-jointed ankle, which are kind of standard issue for the Play Arts Kai. It has a rocker portion to it. It's basically ball-jointed on 2 pegs. So you get a lot of range of motion out of the ankles. So, I think Ibuki is a cool enough character that she sells this figure for me. I think they made some odd choices. I don't really understand. Oops. Let me go ahead and put her in the stand here. I do like that they, I guess, Play Arts Kai figures are just going to come with these figure stands now, which is fine by me. My cat doesn't know when to shut up. Alright, so she looks pretty good though. Like I say, she's a more serious version. Like I don't know that this Ibuki's, like, I don't know what where they're drawing this from, but it does fit in well with the rest of the Play Arts stuff. So I have Cammy and Chun-Li, oops, so far from the Play Arts Kai line. And she fits in quite well with them, as she should. No surprises there, but nothing about her that stands out that is odd. So she'll look good with the rest of your Street Fighter figures. Good figure, lots of range of motion. She's a little less hindered because of that odd waist joint than the others are. But all in all, I think we've got a winner. Let me get a little bit of close-ups here on her. Sorry, I got a cat that's trying to be adventurous over here on the side of me, so I got one eye on him. So yeah, she's pretty good looking. I think they did a pretty good job. The sculpt is great. One thing that Play Arts has been able to do that other companies have failed at is getting the sculpt of the female pelvis correct, which, I don't know, may sound odd, but they have a way of doing it that the seams are not highly visible, and it serves them well. They're able to do female characters a good deal of justice, a lot better than other companies where the whole sculpt will be very strange. And Ibuki, it serves her well as well. This like kind of panel that comes down, her ninja diaper looking thing, is just about right. Her thighs are plenty thick, but this has, I think, a little bit more to do with the sculpt of her pants. Baggy kind of ninja pants, which are great. It looks very much like Ibuki, very reminiscent of her, with the slit in the side, and seems to kind of conform to her shape, as you can see, which is also fine by me. But, like I say, this does seem like they're drawing from some version of Ibuki that doesn't exactly exist anywhere else, as best I can tell. A little more adult, a little more serious. Pretty much like all the Play Arts figures tend to be. I'm going to pop on her other hands and her other head, and we'll take a look at that. I also wanted to add that she totally should have come with Dawn, her little raccoon. I totally would have preferred him over the plastic stand, because I got one of these already. I got a few of them, actually. So I don't have a little raccoon named Dawn, so that would have been preferable. But it doesn't seem like it matches the tone of the figure, unfortunately. So I think it goes without saying that these figures are really posable. One little thing that I just kind of noticed, and is true for the other figures as well, that when you do these kind of more dramatic poses with them, their hips will accommodate, and they look kind of seamless as they're splayed like that, but then they kind of tend to flare. So I don't know that I would keep them in a pose like that, because I wouldn't want the plastic taking that shape and leaving a big fat gap there. But I'm not sure in what instance I would keep these hands on her, but These are the other two hands. So altogether, two closed fists, two open hands, and one fist with her. So here's her RAR face. It's pretty detailed. They look good. Try to get a nice clear shot of her face in here. The head, this head is also pretty wobbly. I was thinking about it. I think this might be Square's attempt to make the figures less fragile. I've had instances where I didn't want to pull out hands and things like that out of their pegs because I felt like they'd be a little too fragile. I want to break these pegs in here. I've never broke a Play Arts one. I have broke a Revoltech one. I've actually broken two of them on the same figure, but not on Play Arts. I never had that issue, but maybe that's what they're doing. They're trying to make sure it stays durable. So there's Ibuki. There's not much else to her. Couple kind of quick things is that her paint. I haven't gone over the paint yet. The paint is done well. It has kind of some natural shading in it, which is something they've done on the other figures too. Chun-Li kind of has brighter spots where I guess the cloth would be a little more stretched or, I don't know, reflective. Cammy does the same thing. A little more dramatic here on her, where they basically airbrush her abs and everything else. Ibuki doesn't have a whole lot of that. She's kind of got some shading, kind of where the cloth folds in, and right in her abdomen here is darker. The arms have kind of some definition to them. They're colored kind of to accentuate her muscles and the lines of her arm. I'm sure I can get her to do the robot here. And the legs are the same, shaded closer to the pants. Well, she's got some bruises or something. Something's going on here. I have to try to clean that up a little bit. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to clean up or not. That's kind of been a little issue I've had with the Play Arts figures. They have little bits of paint that are kind of off. The paint gets a little dicey around the front here. It looks like they're using maybe some kind of dry brushing or something like that. It looks alright though. Nothing, it doesn't stand out to me. I'm not even sure that it's wrong necessarily. There it is. But it did catch my eye. It doesn't look like that's what they were going for, if you had to ask me. There she is. Good figure, though. Digging it. Definitely it's going right on the shelf next to the other two girls. I guess here's the problem, right? Like, these won't break the pegs anymore, but they don't seem to stay planted like they used to. That's okay. Like I say, I feel like there's no need to play with these. Maybe I say like I say, but I don't know if I've actually expressed that or not. I do not play with my Play Arts figures. They get in a pose and they stay that way on my shelf, and they serve their purpose in that way. And I haven't really had any issues with any of them. Standing, maybe. Some of the Metal Gear ones, good grief. But the Street Fighter ones have all been able to stand under their own will. I don't think Ibuki necessarily needs a stand, but I'm glad that looks like they're all going to be coming with their own stands from here on out. So that'll be about it for now. Kind of slow on the Bishojo front right now. Waiting for my variant, or I guess limited edition, Commander Shepard, and then JC from Tekken will be the next two coming. And I've got some other Bishojo stuff laying around. I actually had this Metal Gear Rex sitting on my review table here for the longest, and he was taking up the room, and I was putting off putting him somewhere because I didn't just want to move him into the corner or something like that, so it took a little while to get that sorted. But it is sorted, and so now I'll be doing a few more reviews. I think I'm going to do Tekken, Asuka Kazama next, and then if I have time, I'll get around to I don't know, like I got Electra. Electra's been around forever. I got a few different figures that I never did reviews for, some Bishojo stuff, so maybe I'll do those. Alright, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Subscribe, like, do all that stuff. Sorry, I'm a little out of it. I'm a little tired today, so there she is. Play Arts Kai Ibuki.